Hey everyone, so I have a book review video to talk about, and this is quite exciting because it's a book that I never thought I would have read. So this is the book here first of all. This is The Last Days of Wolf Garnett. It's by Clifton, and this is a western. Now last year, middle of last year, I read a western script. Somebody sent me a western script to read for this and that reason. And I really enjoyed it, which is weird because I didn't really think I was the western sort of person. My apologies if I keep playing with my hair in the next few videos, but it's really doing my head in today. And I never thought I was going to like westerns. I've never really sat down and watched a proper western all the way through. I've seen I know what a western is obviously, but I've never given it the time of day. But I was in the library and I was like, there's just not a lot here I want to read. And they've moved the books around, and in the section where the sci-fi books normally are, they had loads and loads of westerns. And I thought, you know what? I'm going to give it a go. So I just took the first one off the shelf. I didn't have a clue where to start, and it was The Last Days of Wolf Garnett. And I can now confirm that it is fantastic. I'm now addicted to western books. I'm going to go and get another one next week. I've got a couple more to read first. So the cover, first of all, as you can see, it does look old-fashioned. This was released in the late 70s, I believe, and then republished in the 90s. So I'm not sure which edition this is. It doesn't actually tell me, but it says BBC audiobooks on the back. But yeah, so it's got the really sort of western feel to it. It really is good. And this focuses on the story of Frank Galt, who is him on the front there, I believe. Although it's not the picture I had in my mind when I was reading it. But it's about Frank Galt, and Frank has to go looking for this man called Wolf Garnett. They're referred by their surnames in the book most of the way through, because you sort of forget their first names. But it's sort of became apparent that Garnett is dead and he is buried. But Galt is sort of like, I don't believe that he is buried, I don't believe that that is him, and he digs him up at the beginning of the book. But this dead body is, it's such a mess that you couldn't identify it as being Garnett or not. So Galt goes on this sort of expedition, if you like, across Texas and things, looking for all these different people who can feed him information about Garnett in his last days, and people connected to Garnett. There's a lot of involvement from the sheriff, Grady Olson, and we soon learn as the story develops that Olson is perhaps not quite the character he seems. I'm not going to say how it turns out, of course, but there are a lot of twists and turns along the way. There's really only one female character in this, Esther Garnett, who is the sister of Wolf Garnett. She seems like a really lovely character. I do like her. She's one of my favourite characters in the book. As is Sewell. I'm not going to say much about Sewell because he's not a central character as such. He plays an important part in the little detective work, but he's not an important character as far as dialogue goes. He doesn't feed much information to them. That might not make much sense. I understand that in my head it doesn't, but when you read it, it will make sense. So I do recommend this completely. It is very gripping. As far as the number of pages goes, at 180 I believe. Let me just double check that. 175 pages. The writing isn't like a massive size. That's the library stamp. I'm not going to show you that. So it's not like massive writing. It won't take you overly long to read it. Now the main question here, and this is the question that I asked myself before I started reading it. Can a non-Western reader read this? Short answer is yes, you can, but to start off with, it'll take a bit of getting used to. Like when I was reading it, I was like, there was like 3 words per page which I'd not heard of, the sort of Western Texas jargon, and I was like, what is that? So I did put Google to good use, finding out what all these things were. But as you read on, you soon pick things up. Like I now know what a buckskin is, which I didn't before. So it is educational as well, because you soon learn about Westerns in the West if you haven't, if you're not familiar with them. So it is definitely a book to read, even if you've never read a Western. Give it a go, you might like it. I think it is a great book to start off with if you've never read Westerns. Now, I am saying that, but I haven't read any others, so there might be better ones. But I think the fact that I've only read one Western-based thing before, being the script, for the first Western little novel that I've read, it is pretty perfect. It's not so complicated that you get lost. The plot behind it could be adapted to modern-day London sort of thing, Like the idea behind it that a man's dead but a character doesn't believe that's him and things. And all the way through it you're like, well, is it him? What's going on? How is this? And you're given all these new bits of information and you're trying to piece them together, and it gets quite hectic at times. And when that's combined with the jargon of the Western, it's a little bit chaotic, but it is really fun. It's not a light read if you've not read Westerns, as I said, but if you are familiar with Westerns, I think it will be fairly light compared to some. But as I said, I will go and get more. I'm going to look for more by Clifton. As far as the internet told me, he passed away years ago. I think this was like you know, like a really late publication of his. So I can't exactly get in touch with him, but I am going to look out for more by the author, and I will be doing lots more Western book reviews soon, I'm pretty sure of that. But that's it for now, so go and see if you can find The Last Days of Wolf Garnett. It is on Amazon. It's not like dirt cheap because it's not a popular publication, but go and check your library if they've got some. I'm pretty sure most libraries will have Western books. I have just fallen in love with Westerns. I'm going to go and see if I can rent movies and find loads more novels and things, so that's pretty exciting. Plus I love Texas, that's an added bonus. Yeah, but please feel free to leave comments and things and let me know your thoughts on this or anything else, and I'll see you next time. Bye!